Good morning and welcome to the best show on television.
Go ahead and tell it, Treva.
I am your host, Treva Gordon, and
Kevin Kennedy.
And it's the Treva and Kevin Show.
We're so delighted that you tuned in to see the broadcast because it's going to be one of the most exciting shows that we've done. And I'm thrilled that you're here with us. So get your coffee, sit back and watch and enjoy. It's going to be really fun, really entertaining today.
That's right. Well, I tell you what today, Kevin, we have a show and it's called The Heart of Gold.
Come on. How's your heart today? It's
golden.
Well, we love. Let that love flow.
Let it flow.
Absolutely.
Well, we have two wonderful women who are doing amazing work, and we are here because we have to tell you all about them.
Yes. Well, you know, unique people. When you find someone who truly cares about others.
That's right.
And the compassion, and they live with a passion about it, that's something unique. That story needs to be told.
It has to be told.
That's what we're all about through our programming today.
Well, LaneBrody joins us today, and this woman truly has a heart of gold. She put out a song years ago with Johnny Lee. You ever heard of him?
Yep, I have. And I remember the song, The Yellow Rose of Texas.
Okay.
For a little bit, they might ask me to sing before the program's over with. What do you think about that?
I think it'll be great if Lane will have it. But I tell you what, she's a songwriter and actor.
Yeah.
She loves God and animal wildlife.
Yeah.
And she's here to talk to us today. So please welcome on the Treva and Kevin Show, LaneBrody.
Hi, good to see you. Good morning.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. So do you, and it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Thank you. What are you doing? Because you've got to tell everyone, what are you doing to just keep it all together?
Oh,
you look amazing.
I don't know. I've always been health and nutrition and fitness and...
Give me that formula. I want what she's doing.
That's right. Well, I tell you what, tell everyone what you've been up to these past days.
Well, I stepped into a rescue. I've always been a rescuer. I've been a singer my whole life by the grace of God and an animal rescuer. And I stepped in to really rescue Walden's Puddle about 4 years ago. And that's taken a lot of commitment. And by the grace of God, we've come out of all the issues. And so I've been working on that. And I'm still recording and still singing and doing specialty concerts for certain things when I get called. And I hope to go back out and do some more once I get Walden's really, really stable. But that's what I've been doing. Primarily, it's focusing on them and then doing my writing and recording in between. I did manage to get one album out, and I'm working on another one with my husband, Eddie Bears.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, we were at the break and we were talking about, you got to see Taxi. It was one of your favorite shows.
Oh, yes.
And that's where she was. Tell us about that last.
Yeah, that years ago. Well, yeah, it was one of those things that I acted when I was in Hollywood for a while. It was not something I really wanted to do. That's why I'm not an actress. But I did get some really neat parts, and that was one of them. And I guest starred with Danny DeVito and the whole gang, and was with them for about a week.
Okay.
And then we taped it live, which was a lot of fun. So it's neat to be in good company. Tom Selleck and Tom Hanks and myself, and to see who all guest starred on that show is pretty cool to be included.
Yes.
Really
Tell
good.
us, how did that song, Lane, come about, The Yellow Rose of Texas?
Well, the Yellow Rose really had to do with a TV show. I was doing a lot of motion picture and television themes, and very well known with the composers.
Okay.
And I had been Oscar nominated for the song Over You from Tender Mercies, which was my first really big hit, a big ballad. And then I was asked by John Wilder, the same producer who produced Taxi, if I would sing the theme song to this new TV show called The Yellow Rose. And he asked me, well, I'd like to have it be a duet. And he said, who would you like to sing with? And I mentioned Johnny Lee, and that's how that came about. A lot of people thought Johnny asked me, but I asked him.
You asked
I wrote it
Johnny.
as well. I wrote it as well. I was a writer of that song.
Now, you know, Kevin and I were asking, are there vocal lessons that you can give to
Yeah,
Kevin?
we want
Just a
you
little
to
bit.
Breathe deeply and use your diaphragm.
Okay, hold it till after the show.
Breathing deeply
Please,
is
Treva.
always good. Good for the skin, good for everything.
Okay.
It's good. Well, tell us about what work you're in now and what's going on.
Well, Walden's Puddle is the only professionally staffed wildlife rehabilitation and education center in Middle Tennessee. And we take in about, I would say we're about 3,500 injured and orphaned animals a year of 120 different species, and those are animals that our community find.
Yes.
In your backyard, a little bird hit the window, a fawn whose mother was killed on the road, and you see the baby fawn. Sometimes it's possums. People are not afraid of. A lot of people are not afraid, and a mama possum may be killed, and someone will realize the babies are still there.
Yes.
They'll bring mother in so we can take those babies and rehabilitate them, raise them, and put them back out to the wild.
You know, you were telling us earlier too about a professional staff, rather.
Yes.
So explain that to us.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of backyard rehabilitators, and they're fantastic, and we really encourage that because we need all the help that we can get. But Walden's
Absolutely.
Puddle is the only professionally staffed wildlife rehab center.
I like how you said
Everybody's
that.
trained.
Yeah, we are biology students, people that really came out of schools that were trained.
And you know, that's very important to know. And a lot of people have been watching the news lately. I know I, in particularly, have been watching. And so that's why we called upon you, because there was a fire that
Yes.
recently broke out. Can you tell us about
yes,
that,
it's very,
Lane?
very, very tragic. Yeah, and by the grace of God, and I serve. You know, He's everything. I don't consider myself anything. I'm just a servant, and I just get up every day, and He always kind of shows me what to do.
That's right.
And that's how it is with Walden's Puddle. And I had recently installed wireless smoke detectors in every room. I actually did more than what was expected, and I did talk with the chief, and I actually told him about the creek to make sure a small truck came if there was ever a call. And I said, on my watch, we don't want a tragedy. And
Yes.
and the chief said that day, he said they did their job. He said that the building would have been gone and we would have lost everybody, all the animals. But we did lose some, and as tragic as it is, we'll never forget them. And they really were sort of like martyrs for the cause, because we've been everywhere as a result of this.
Yes.
More people know about the cause, and
Absolutely.
those babies did not die in vain. We've cried. We've really struggled
Yes.
through it.
And
but-
people have come through to help out and
Oh,
volunteer.
yes. Volunteers are big for us. We couldn't do our work without volunteers. We actually log about 9,000 hours of volunteers a year.
Wow, that's great.
not
That's
counting
awesome.
my hours, or
Yes.
the board's hours. As I
Yes.
was telling you, our board is all a working board. We all do jobs that would normally
In
be paid.
kind.
In kind, yes. So
Well,
we save right off the top, the organization,
The
hundreds
truth
of thousands of
of
dollars.
the matter is that everybody benefits from the wildlife of Tennessee. You know, if you go all over the world, they're fascinated by Tennessee wildlife.
Yes.
And so that's ours. Are we going to be good stewards?
That's right.
And so I want to salute the cause and salute all those, because it does make a difference.
It does.
Reach out and touch some hearts
Yes,
of gold that's
that's
listening
right.
today,
That's right.
that it will make a difference.
Because it takes that to be able to serve, and you are serving.
Thank
am
you.
serving.
for
And we
your
want to thank you. What else would you like others to know about Walden's Puddle
Well,
today?
Walden's Puddle does not receive any federal or state funding. It's all by the goodness of the hearts of our community. And I think as a community, it speaks for who we are as a people,
does.
how we take care of our wildlife in the least. If you stop and you see a little turtle and you pick him up and you know there's a place to take him, your granddaughter, your grandson, your child finds a little animal.
Yeah.
Some of the first lessons of children is to
Yes.
find an animal. And how did they feel? To know there's a place where they can take it
Yeah.
and will be rehabilitated and released back to the wild. It's a great thing. It
Well, we're
really
going to
is.
have some information on the screen, because it's very important that you find out more what LaneBrody is doing. Also,
Yes.
if you'll go to her website, because she is an incredible artist.
Oh, thank
Just
you.
love your music.
Thank you. But most importantly, it's the recovery fund, the fire recovery
Okay.
fund. We need you. We need you to stay with
Okay.
us through this difficult time. Help us and support us to build a new laundry, to do a little addition on the
Yes.
building, and to be
Yes.
able to care for all the babies that are coming in. 3,500 a year. That's a lot of animals. And
It is.
we need the community to be with us.
Well, it's a
through this.
beautiful thing. You said it best, when people have children and grandchildren,
Yes.
to teach them about caring for other things.
Yeah.
It's all God's creation. You
right.
said it best.
Because if we
selfless.
care for each other, one another, we ought to care for God's creatures.
Absolutely.
And there's miracles in the wildlife. I'll
Tell
tell
me.
you, I've seen miracles you wouldn't believe. We could talk for hours about that.
And will you invite Kevin? Can Kevin and I come
We'd
and
like to
can
come
follow you
sometime.
for,
Oh, yeah.
for a day?
You
Maybe
can
bring
come.
our
Yeah.
cameras.
It'd be
And
good.
you'll give us a
There's some
singing lesson.
restrictions on that for the TWRA, but yes, what we can do, we'll definitely do.
I'm
How about
cut
that,
loose with
Kevin?
a little singing out there in the
Oh.
wildlife. It would be fun and exciting. I love
invited.
deer. I love all the raccoons.
That's right.
Thank you for
They're
the
precious.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you for
That's
being with
why I
us
love
today.
the show. It gets to tell so many that never heard.
That's right.
So today is really a new beginning for a lot of people to get to hear.
There is a place. There is a place. It's hard to believe, but there is a place that will take that little animal from the time it's a baby until it's grown
Yeah.
and released back to the wild, or an eagle that's injured
Tell
that
it.
we can take back to the wild to reunite with its mate. We've seen miraculous things things at Walden's Puddle when we take
Okay.
animals back out to be re-released. It's amazing.
All right. Well, you have heard it best from LaneBrody. We're so excited because our show is about a heart of gold, and I'm telling you, she has it.
She does.
You do too.
She touched a bunch
She
of
touched.
hearts today.
Now-
so you can say you made a difference
That's right.
today.
Now, coming up next, we have a wonderful woman. Her name is Ailey Rogers, and she's going to be talking to us about something that she was recently affected by, but also she also has a heart of gold, and that's what it's about, Kevin.
Yes.
It's about giving your all, putting everything out there like Lane, what she does.
Live
and that's
with passion, isn't it true?
every day. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back more with Treva and Kevin. We are back, and I hope you're telling a friend because the Treva and
Kevin shows right here today with a heart of gold.
I tell you, we've got it today. We had LaneBrody on the show.
Exciting and thrilling. It's so passionate about her work.
Wildlife.
Yeah, I love it. I love to watch the rabbits whenever we can get away from the TV set. and
That's
go out
right.
there. It's
That's
great.
right. Well, I tell you what, we have a wonderful guest on today's show that I would like to introduce. Her name is Ailey White.
Yeah.
And she has a ministry called Take It by Force. It was started by her sister, Patricia Walden, Kevin. And she spreads love and inspiration. And also, she's had some hard times, but yet she has a heart of gold. So welcome our guest, Ailey
Yes.
White.
Hey,
Thank
Ailey,
you.
so good
Thank
to
you,
see you.
Kevin. Thank
God
you,
bless you.
Treva. Thank
How
you so
are
much.
you?
I am wonderful.
Thank you so
I am
much for
wonderful.
joining us today. You look great.
Thank you. So do you. Both
And
of you
Kevin,
do.
I tell you, Ailey is doing a wonderful thing. She ministers in the community. She has a heart of gold.
Yes. Well, tell us about the ministry. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a group called Take It by Force. It was originated in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay.
And I was delivered. I was an addict for 17 years. So I've been doing this since about 2006. And what I do, I go into the neighborhoods, like the projects, the places that people talk about but don't want to go.
Yes.
And I just give my testimony of victory.
Yes.
And I bring other people in there with me.
Yes.
So that way, because when I was an addict and I was in buildings, I was not going to come out and listen to nobody, or into a church and listen to nobody tell their testimony.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear that. I wanted some more drugs. So I go out to them.
Well, you were talking with us a little earlier. I said, well, do you ever get scared going in there? Because, fear
That's
can be
right.
a gripper and
Yeah.
it can stop you. So tell us about it.
No, I don't get scared. I'm a soldier in Christ.
I heard that Bible verse when
Yeah.
she said that we walk by faith
And not by sight.
And not by sight.
It's so true.
That's right.
So what keeps you going, Ailey? What gives you the heart of gold to keep going, pouring your heart into our community,
And
giving
caring
back?
about people that you
That's
don't
right.
even know. Tell us.
Jesus does, and to win souls for Christ, because I know there's a lot of people that's out there and they don't want to be. There's so many women and so many men that I've talked to when I was out there on the streets all night long. There's times I've stayed up at days at a time, and we were walking the streets just crying,
Yes.
Yeah.
about the life that we were living, not the life that we were given, but the life that we were living.
Tell it.
We didn't want to be there.
I know, the viewing audience today, some may be wrestling with addictions.
Yes.
All kinds, whether it's drugs or alcohol or sex addictions.
That's right.
And they really would love to stop. They'd love to stop. But they say, I can't, I'm trapped. How about telling us about a little hope today?
Yes, I love it.
That's right. My mother told me, she said, Aileen, she said, I want to tell you something. She said, you open up the Bible to Psalms 23. And she said, you read it over to yourself 3 times. And she said, you have faith and you believe that things is going to change. She
Yeah.
said, and I promise you they will.
Amen.
So through Jesus, you've got hope.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to represent many people that were caught in that. And so many of them said, Kevin, I wanted to quit. I was crying out, help me. But yet the addiction was so pulling, so hard. And they'd fight it all day. And then it'd get to 6 and they're still fighting. And then 7 o'clock at night and they're fighting. And by 8 and at 9, they couldn't fight
That's
it and
right.
they yielded.
Right.
So what do you say about those guys and gals that are out there?
That's right. 'Cause a lot
There's
of people,
hope.
they can't beat it. A lot of people, they're struggling with it today. And for you to have overcome that,
It's a miracle.
It is.
For year
The heart of
after
gold.
year.
The
How many
heart of
years were
gold.
you involved?
17. And it is truly a miracle because Jesus delivered me in my sleep. He put me to sleep and delivered me
Tell it.
with a crack pipe in my hand.
Wow.
And, you know, and I know that there's a lot of, because see, when you look at a person and all you're doing is you see how they're struggling and how they're doing this and that, the things that they're doing to get crack or whatever the drug of choice
That's
is.
right.
There's a story behind every face. You don't know how that person feels inside.
right.
Come on now.
No one knows how the person feels inside, because I didn't want to be where I was at.
Yes.
And I didn't know I was addicted until I tried to quit and couldn't.
Okay, so tell us, what makes the drugs so attractive and so hard to break? What is it?
You know,
Are they
It's a-
depressed? Are they lonely? Are they confused? Tell us.
keep on trying to feed the same high over and over again. You're trying to kill problems that's still going to be there.
That's right. Because there's like a hole that, a void, if you will, that
Right.
never gets filled.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And whether it's drug addiction, it could be a food addiction.
Come on.
Don't you guys agree? There are a lot of people that are addicted. Some people are addicted to work. They're addicted to their jobs. They're addicted to all kinds of things. But I tell you what, there is hope. This show is so inspiring because
A
we're
heart
talking
of
about
gold. Come on.
Ailey, you have a heart of gold.
And I
God
appreciate
be the
people
glory.
like you
Yeah.
that God can touch and use. And when she says she'll go in there,
Yeah,
you know, a
I
lot of
believe
people
it.
are gripped with fear
Yes.
because they will kill you inside some of these places. You've been through them. Tell us.
Yes, you know, there are places I used to hang. I wasn't scared when I was out there doing the drugs, because those were the
Yes.
places that I was hanging at. You know, my children got taken from me, and that's when I really dove into drugs. When my
Really?
children got taken, I stayed awake for 2 weeks straight, no sleep.
Wow.
Walking the streets doing drugs and crying, I wanted to kill myself.
You know, I hear you and see some people would say, well, we'll take their children and then that'll shake them. That'll wake them up. That'll stop them.
Yeah.
But
Come
it
on,
wasn't
Kevin.
enough to stop
Come
you.
on.
No, it wasn't. But you know, when they took my children, my daughter, they took her from a drug addict and gave her to a drug dealer.
No.
Oh, my.
Yes.
We've got to make some changes in the system.
Yes.
There are a lot of
that-
things, and that's why, you know, we go out here and we make a difference, not only in our homes, but in our community. And your
Yes.
voice is so powerful.
Shouting today.
And, you know, there's another thing that we're going to move to another subject,
Tell
to
us.
something heavy that's happened to you. There's something wonderful, of course, your son's scholarship that's out of this,
Yes.
because we're raising the awareness, but there was a tragic
Tell us.
on that end. Tell us all about that.
Yes, April the 10th of this year, my youngest son, I have 5 children, he committed suicide.
So
He went
sorry.
out in the woods and he hung himself. And then there's not a feeling in the world like it. You know, I thought I got over the drug addiction, got my children back, we got all back together and everything. And I'm getting ready to go and give my child some money for his birthday. And I got a phone call. And the only thing I keep hearing ringing over in my ears, Jonathan killed himself.
Oh, my goodness.
And I wouldn't believe it. I
Well,
didn't
did you
want-
see any of the signs, the warning signs?
You know, that's the thing. You know, you really don't think about suicide much unless it touches you, unless
Yes.
it touches your
Well,
family.
that's why you're talking to this audience
Exactly.
today.
Unless it touches your family. So now that I know through African Americans, you least see signs of suicide.
Yes.
And African Americans, that is the 5th leading cause of African Americans is suicide.
Wow.
That's too
And
many.
it's from ages 10 to 24.
Yes.
And I think we are ignoring the signs.
Yeah, I
it's so
believe it.
important. And one thing Ailey and I were talking about earlier is that sometimes we don't take people serious. If
Exactly.
they're letting you know that, you know, hey, I'm about to jump off of a bridge or I'm
Yes.
going to do bodily harm, we should really take that serious.
We were at the break and we said, you know, you don't wake up today and say, I'm going to, it's a process. You've been thinking and you've been mulling it over. You're looking for some hope. So what are you going to tell those families that are confronted with these issues?
Yeah.
There are phone numbers. Call a pastor, talk to someone. Take suicide very serious, because it is serious. If they depressed, if they start drinking more, if they start getting withdrawn away from people,
That's
Come
right.
on.
if they purchase a firearm, you know, take it seriously.
Yes.
And it's okay to ask that person, do you feel like committing suicide? Do you want to commit suicide? It's okay to ask them that.
Yes.
It's okay to ask them, do you want to harm yourself? But when they do, if they answer, take it serious. Take it serious.
That's one of those things for the busiest businessman. He needs to take off work.
Yeah.
And for the mother's got the job, you need to take off because there's
Take a little time.
Come on.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
if you miscalculate it's finality.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And we miss the signs. Sometimes the signs are all around us. They say danger, 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 warning.
That's why this program is
destruction.
so important
It is.
today.
Get inspired. That's right.
And I never seen any signs. I never seen them. I'm not a Facebook person, but there's people that come up to me and say, well, I seen this that he wrote on Facebook.
Yes.
Or I seen that he wrote on Facebook.
Takes a community to know.
Exactly.
Wow.
Even if he told someone that, can be a friend by letting somebody else know.
Amen.
Don't say, well, I told them that I wasn't going to say anything, or I told them that I wasn't going to tell nobody, so I'm not going to tell anybody.
Well, I tell you what, A-Lee, we're going to come back. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with A-Lee, because I'm telling you, I really feel our connection.
Yes.
And this subject is all too real, and there are people who are watching. I know you're wiping back the tears from your eyes, because this hits home, and this is something that we don't talk about enough in our communities, not just black people, white people, all people.
Business people, non-business people, you tell it.
So
it's
when
true.
we come back, we'll be right back after this break on the TrevaandKevin Show. Well, we are back, Kevin.
We are, and it has been one fascinating show, Tree.
I agree. So always so great to be here with you. We've had some wonderful guests.
Yes, we have. And a really unique subject now that we need to talk. It takes a real serious note.
Yes.
But there is some serious business today. We're talking about suicide. Share
Yes.
the statistic with us, Tree.
Yes, the statistic is suicide is the third leading cause of death among persons 15 through 24 years old.
And truthfully, it affects every family,
Yes.
every church, every community. And so it's something that we need to discuss, something that we
right.
need to be aware of and discuss with our families, our grandchildren,
That's
and
right.
those around us. And some of those warning signs, we need to pick up on it. Don't ignore it.
Don't ignore the signs. That's right. And A-Lee is with us today.
Yes, God
And
bless you. Ailey.
we
God
thank
bless
you
you.
for
Thank
just
you. Thank
coming
you.
in and talking about your story. And what would you like people to know about your son, A-Lee?
I would like people to know that my son, Jonathan, he loved art, he loved tattooing, he loved sword fighting, he loved his brother Arnett. He was a sweet person, very sweet person. He used to get into a lot of things when he was younger, though. But he's a very sweet person. And I never seen it. I never knew it. I never seen it. And, you think everything is okay and everything's going to be okay, and it's not going to touch my family, and you don't think about it until it does.
Yeah, well, you talked with us a little earlier about reach out with a pastor or a friend. Tell us a little bit about that, what you do to tell others that may be confronted with this issue.
Yes, reach out to your pastor. Call your pastor. Reach out to friends. There's a 800 number that you can call as well. That is 1-800-273-8255. That is the suicide prevention number. Call your neighbor. Go knock on your neighbor's door.
Right.
Take suicide serious, because it is a serious thing.
It is. I always like to say, take a proactive approach. One of the shocking things, I see it quite often, in legal problems, they burden you down.
Right.
They ride you down. Medical problems, they ride you down.
Yeah.
And then you want to say, I had some very talented people say, I don't care if I live or die, or I just wish that I couldn't go on.
Yeah.
Just stop it. Well, if you hear those things, somebody needs to know, and don't
Absolutely.
blow it off.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because when it's final, it is final.
Absolutely. I agree, Kevin. Well, tell us about the Jonathan Head Memorial Scholarship.
Yes, we're doing it. I've got a Jonathan Head Memorial Scholarship started, and it's starting in the Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, the Christian school there,
Yes.
and also the Unity Christian Academy, the school that they have there. And the numbers to call if anyone wants to make a donation, it is Minister Rita Ewing, to which she is with Young Daughters of
Yes.
Destiny. Her number is 931-801-9319, or even myself at 931-302-8542.
I tell you what, well, that's what we're doing. We're helping a lot of people today.
Lots of
Yes.
people will hear this.
And I tell you, your story is so inspiring because
Precious.
someone has experienced this, but they're not comfortable in sharing. And for you to come on our show and to share just from your heart, a heart of gold. We really want to thank you, Kevin.
Yes, we sure do. You know, I heard this one guy say, you know, hey, I want you to write my will because I want to just call it. This is the end of it. And I never will forget, there was another older lawyer, and he said, man, you need to blow your faith up.
Yeah.
Don't blow your brains out.
Wow.
But on the ticker top, you don't just wake up today and say this is it.
That's right.
There's some things that push you over the edge.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate your testimony, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much, because, you know, suicide, it is a permanent solution to a temporary situation.
Is she right?
Okay.
Trouble does not last always. Whatever you're facing, it's not going to last always.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, you have been sent here for a reason.
Amen. Fulfilling
To
your
help
purpose.
somebody
Yes.
else.
Thank
Well,
you.
I
We
tell
need
you
to give
what,
some hope to the hopeless out
It's
there
time,
today.
yeah.
Be a friend of the friendless.
Come on
That's
now.
right.
It's
Find
true.
out. Yes.
That's what I see when I see her and hear her
Absolutely.
story.
Yeah, she's a soldier, and you're going to keep
Encourage
going.
the discouraged today.
Yeah.
You already
That's
set
right.
me on fire.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
go back to you.
I tell you
Got
what.
chills going through me.
Yes, but
Well,
it's
reach out.
every bit of this
Yes.
is the truth.
Yeah.
It is the truth. And there is some hope out there, and there is some help.
Okay. And speaking of help, when we come back,
Okay, Treve.
we're going to have legal corner time
All right.
with our good friend Kevin. We're going to ask him some questions because you want to know. You've got legal questions. You better ask this man when we come back. Hey, wait a
Come
minute,
on,
because
now.
we're coming
You
back.
know, there is power in knowledge, so let's tell him a few.
All right, on the Treve and Kevin show. Hey, we are back. Isn't that right, Kevin?
It's been an exciting show today. I love every bit of it.
I tell you, this is a fun part of the show where we like to keep things moving. It's called Legal Time with Kevin.
Okay, well, let's just fire away with the question, and I'll see what I can do.
That's right. And this is a time where you can submit your questions into our show. And our first question that we have for you, because Kevin is an attorney,
That's
right?
Over 30 years
30
in the
years.
trenches.
So you have some experience.
I've been around the block.
You're not some fly by night.
I don't know, some people might say that, but we've been through it. Yes.
Okay, my question is, what is the first thing I should do if I'm involved in a hit and run?
Hit and run. Well, the first thing, everybody now has a cell phone. So if it's a hit and run, you ought to call the police, 911.
That's right.
So when you get them there, you try, if they are running away, if you can get license plate number, if you can get a description.
Okay.
You know, anytime you're the victim of any kind of crime, try to be aware, be sophisticated. That's why this programming is important, because it teaches you to say, well, it was a black car. No, it wasn't blue.
Okay.
The back fender, there was a tail light out. They can go so fast on the radio now that they zero in and they can catch a lot of people who are trying to get away from a crime.
Now, should I take it into my own hands? You know, say I'm
Come on.
driving, I'm minding my own business, okay? I mind my own business, and someone hits me, so should I chase them?
No, I don't
chase
ever say
after
that.
them?
But, you know,
Come
you'll
on,
see
tell
sometimes
it.
somebody wants to run up and take a photo, okay?
Yes.
Or if you wanted a video and it was a situation, you could see it as it was getting away. Help document the situation where you are.
Okay.
And so know your time. If there's other witnesses, try to grab a witness.
All right. Well, Kevin, it has been a remarkable show.
It absolutely
And
has.
this is our favorite time of the show because we get to answer your legal questions.
Yeah.
So we have a Facebook page called Treva and Kevin,
yeah.
and like our page.
Well, one of the things, there is no such thing as a dumb question.
Yeah.
Because if you've got the question, there's thousands
That's
out there
right.
that would love to know the answer.
That's right.
So feel free. And when you see Treva and I out, always speak to us. We love to
That's right.
hear from you, and you can talk to us at any time. We're not just shutting the door. We love to hear from you.
That's right. So write us, email us. Our contact is on the screen.
Sure.
And every week we're going to be back right here in your living room, on your cell phone, or wherever you're watching the Treva and Kevin show. But we want you to tell a friend.
Come on. Write it down. Call us, see us, and you keep watching. We love you.
Bye.